Reignite your intuition to show to grow your intuitive self. Today I talk about traditions and modern ways of life. My name is Angela and I'm a highly intuitive person by birth. What makes me the expert in supporting you regaining your intuition? As a psychic life coach, it is my passion to support people by becoming themselves. Trusting fully your intuition takes time and is a very individual process. I share with you my knowledge and strategies I have developed to support you in your daily lifestyle. Take 30 minutes of your lifetime and schedule a free call with me. I do not exactly know how many different cultures do listen to my English podcasts nor to my German one, which is most probably because I'm not a very techie person and I'm not talented to follow those things up on details. I must admit, if I wouldn't have an assistant, I would have a problem. But thanks God I have a beautiful assistant and she is a big help in those things because that's not mine. Well, anyways, we all have our traditions, we all have our history, and we also live in 2019, not very long anymore, it's just not 2 months. But hey guys, it's still like that. And what I figured is that a lot of discussions that we are having in today's life are things that we never had to discuss before because they were just normal or standard or, they were just regular. For example, if I move in a new room, if I move in a new apartment, of course there is, white sage and I'm going to clean. And there is people saying, ooh, you're a witch, stay away from me. And I'm like, what the hell? I mean, don't get me wrong, but we did those things earlier in our lives. Already, it was normal, even in Switzerland, and it were things to clean the rooms with smoke and with smooch and everything. We just, that was just normal. And in the meanwhile, it's like, oh, that's boo-hoo, woo-hoo. And I'm like, well, no, that's not. But the problem is with all those topics, they started to become a problem because we've started to let those things go. And someone decided that's rubbish, and because of that person or that whatever group, decided that's rubbish, it has to be rubbish for everyone and everything, and that's just, in my opinion, bullshit. My typical BS. Also, it's traditions that for, let's call it Christian countries, which is, in my opinion, something that I don't like because there is religions out there, but I'm a believer, but I'm not religious. Like to cover our hair. Back when I was a little girl, I remember my granny covered her hair while doing work to make sure that it's out of her face. It was not to cover it that someone else can't see it. Okay, yeah, I must admit that's true. But still, it was normal that we cover our hair. I remember I asked my granny, I want to have that too. And it was so normal. And this is so what is now modern, what is now old school, what is now this and that, and how do we, let's call it, mix it up? And there is people who are very traditional. I mean, I know from my neighbor where I grew up, she's a beautiful lady. I mean, she is just, oh good God, I don't even remember how many years she's older. It's about 4 years or something. And I love her. She is nuts in one of the best ways you can be nuts. She is a big-hearted, completely sportive, crazy, sport-wise woman. But, well, her body might only be muscles, but I'm pretty sure it's only heart. But she grew up beside me. She fell in love with a guy from the village. She moved in with the guy in the village. She moved in another place. They got married. They built a family. They started a family. Actually, the boys are quite big now, or at least tall and big, I must admit. And she never left my village where I grew up. But she traveled. And I remember very well her husband was very, let's call it, old school tradition in our way to look at things. And she was a hairdresser back in the days, and I allowed her to try everything with my hair. She went to London every year for at least a week to get trainings and everything. And I remember we went to her house and then she listened to Starlight Express because she was in London and she saw Starlight Express. She was a huge fan. And then she did something to my hair, or we did a picture of my hair or whatever. I don't even remember what we did, but it was fun because we went to have a drink or something. And then I guess the door was not really shut already. The music changed immediately. It became very traditional Swiss music, as we call it, Ländler. Partially I like it, partially I can't stand it, but that's just another topic. I was just fascinated that, how will that work, or how does that work? That people who are so opposite are so not opposite. But funny enough, she also started playing part of this music, and they made a little live band together. And this is why I talk about Durham. They grown up in traditional families. She wanted to see the earth and life and everything, and she does that. He's supporting her. I even remember that she wanted to do one of these crazy races, absolutely out of, in my opinion, any normality for someone who does sport, but someone who is crazy in love with sports for sure understands it. And there's like about 8 women in total who do it alone. Usually they're groups and they're changing, partners and everything. So she wanted to do it. There was no space left, and he fought for her space. And she then said, after she's done, she said, well, my husband suffers more than I do because I enjoy it, but he suffers to make it perfect. He's there the full week. He's bringing drinks. He's running behind me. He's driving behind me. I have supporters, and I wouldn't be able to do it if my husband wouldn't support me doing it. And when they met, he wasn't doing anything sportive, or at least not as much as she does. Now that they are very sportive, they live a modern life with traditions combined, and this is what I think is the best example. That's why I'm talking about them. They include both of it. I mean, I guess one of their boys do yodeling. I know that she can't stand it, or actually that's not correct. She can stand it, but not for too long. I'm the one who has a hard time to listen. My mom refuses to listen in the meanwhile, which is okay. And yeah, if they like doing it, then do yodeling. It's part of our tradition. But we can, include it in modern music. And that's what I think is very important, that we stop being like, oh, that's how it has to be done, and not that way. It has to do with taste. Like, for example, I love jazz music. Good old jazz. Don't get me this freaking modern jazz. I just can't handle it. But that's me. Some people love it. I don't. That's okay. That doesn't mean that the old stuff is always better than the new stuff, or modern and tradition and such and such. And I think we have to start, or the good thing would be to start to be conscious about the fact that we have to blend things into each other, because that's how we are. When we live our lives, and we always stop us because we don't do traditional stuff, or that's uncool, or we don't do modern stuff because that's uncool. We want to be cool. We want to be, hip, whatever. And we just lose energy on not being who we are. It's just like, that gives me a freaking headache. That's useless, It's absolutely useless. So live your life the way you want to live it. That's the only thing I add. If you do not hurt anyone or do something bad to someone on purpose. All the rest, go, do it, live your life. It's your life, and nobody, absolutely nobody, is allowed to say anything about it, because it's your life and nobody else's life. And that's what's important, that you know that. Well, that's about traditions and modern life. And by the way, there is traditions I love. There is traditions I do love from my culture. There is traditions I love in other cultures. And there is modern stuff I love, and there is modern stuff I can't stand. Yeah, we're all humans, and that's okay. The important part is, if there is something you can't stand, doesn't mean that someone else has to follow you and be like, I can't stand it too. No, if they love it, let them do it. As long as you don't hurt anybody with something, go ahead, do it. Are you ready for being you? Yes? then go to angelahack.com, book a 30-minute call. You find the link below the podcast. Thank you for listening to Reignite Your Intuition. Have a marvelous day.